Hey everyone, Casual Console Gamer here bringing you another review. This time it's for Aliens Dark Descent, which I played on both Xbox Series X through Game Pass and PlayStation 5 through PlayStation Plus Extra. Dark Descent was released in June of 2023 for both console and PC through Steam. Its gameplay is very similar to an XCOM game, but with real-time combat rather than turn-based. It retails for $49.99 US, but if you're looking to pick it up, it's currently on sale for 60% off. So, is Aliens Dark Descent worth playing? This review is going to answer that question.
Any news from Lacey Hayes?
Sorry, sir. We're having a hard time reaching anyone. That storm probably...
Damn, must be one hell of a hurricane to cut us from the whole planet.
Chief Administrator, I'm showing a weight discrepancy on the Bentonville's manifest. They just asked for a takeoff accreditation, but half the shipment is still at dock.
Half, you say? Well, we just earned a bonus. I'll allow them to take off right away.
Unfortunately, I can't recommend you buy Aliens Dark Descent, at least not on console. I didn't check out the PC version, but the console versions are riddled with game-breaking bugs that makes its $50 price tag much too high in my opinion. But if you have Game Pass or PlayStation Plus Extra, it's worth checking out if you're a fan of the Aliens franchise and are more forgiving of Dark Descent's flaws. That's a good segue into talking about the game's technicals. Dark Descent is in a rougher technical state than I would like. The game is riddled with bugs and many of them are game-breaking. There are multiple glitches that will prevent you from proceeding through missions, saving the game, or even keeping your Marines alive. Enemies bug through objects and so do your Marines, and when they get stuck, you can't retrieve them at the end of the mission. But glitched enemies still count on the screen, preventing you from saving or ending a mission as well. Doors will refuse to open, or enemies will spot you when they shouldn't. There are more bugs and glitches than I can count, and that really makes the technical problem stand out. It feels unpolished, especially in the later half of the game. Its unpolished state doesn't just stay with bugs either, it affects the mission difficulty themselves. There are peaks and valleys in difficulty, with the game throwing way too much at you at the beginning, or making some of the later missions far too easy. It doesn't help that the prologue and the tutorial requires you to interact with the map in a specific way, such as clicking on a specific item or spot, using an item, or sneaking past an enemy. And when your squad and controls are janky, it becomes a daunting task. The developers knew this, and before they stopped development of the game, the last patch came out in October of 2023, they let you bypass the tutorial and the prologue because a lot of people complained about it. But when they stopped patching the game, they didn't do it because it was perfect. They just gave up from the lack of sales. So if you're playing Dark Descent now, it's not in a technically great state, especially on console. Going into the difficulty, that lack of polish really shows. The game throws a lot at you at the beginning, especially in the first mission. You're given this huge map and not a lot of guidance on what to do, where to go, how to beat the mission. And then it ends with a tunnel section in a mine that is one of the worst parts of the game. The first mission, after the prologue, will turn a lot of players off, and I think if development continued, patches would have streamlined and fixed this section. Then there are the later missions where the difficulty turns from hard, even on normal difficulty, to outright nightmarish. You have endless hordes of enemies, tight corridors filled with aliens, limited ammo supplies, and weird mechanics like luring a queen and enemies into a pillar of electricity, all with this janky and unresponsive controls and movement that isn't as tight as you would need for this type of thing. Dark Descent is still a mess, and I wish they had continued patching it because if they had, this would be an easy recommendation for me. I usually lump graphics in with technicals, but this one I'm going to do separately. Dark Descent looks bad during cutscenes. There's a lot of stuttering, the facial animations make everyone look like they've had way too much plastic surgery, and the models themselves are very dated. But the missions look good. The lighting is fantastic, the art design stays true to the movies, and the atmosphere is some of the best from the Alien series outside of Alien Extraction. They really nailed it here. Every moment feels tense, the enemies move fast and strike hard, the levels are very expansive and filled with things to find and objectives to complete. It's just too bad that it's all from a top-down perspective that doesn't let you zoom in or out too far. The frame rate stayed steady, with quality mode having 30 FPS and performance mode keeping it at a good smooth 60. I played on performance mode because the camera felt bad on quality mode while it was buttery smooth on performance. It's just too bad that the cutscenes look so bad. They play between every mission, and aside from the faces, it doesn't look too terrible. When an alien crawls up, it's creepy as hell. Alright, let's talk about the story of Aliens Dark Descent. It takes place after the original trilogy of movies, but it doesn't have much to do with them. The main character is the administrator of a space station over a colony when this cargo ship is brought on board that is filled with alien eggs. From there, you can really guess what happens. Everything goes to hell. She enacts the Cerberus Protocol, which quarantines the planet, blasting away 2 ships and causing a colonial marine ship to crash on the planet. That ship becomes your base of operations. Just like an XCOM game, you conduct missions from your base, upgrading your squad of Marines. But Marines don't have a personality and they can be customized a little bit. The administrator and the Marine sergeant in charge are really the only characters here, and they are just talking heads on the missions. Your Marines are just people who live and die, unlike an XCOM game where they truly become something unique. The story stays pretty true to the franchise, and it fits in perfectly with the universe. But it does have a few twists, like the fact there is a cult that worships the aliens. This part felt straight out of Dead Space, with a weird cult wanting to join with the aliens and be consumed. I liked the addition since it added another facet to the disaster that's unfolding here. As the game progresses, you're basically trying to find a way to stop the aliens, or at least get off the planet before it blows up from the quarantine. You have a set amount of time to do all the missions or you lose. If you hated the timed countdown clocks from XCOM, this one is much worse since it's an automatic game over. So if you're nearly done and the countdown reaches 0, too bad, all your progress is burnt.
What the hell is that? Looks like some kind of skin.
Did they not teach you about biohazards in the USCM? Don't touch it!
You done? Good. Marines, there's something in here with us. It doesn't take a genius to guess at what. Stay sharp.
Gameplay in Dark Descent is similar to the XCOM series, just without the turn-based mechanics and hit percentages. You have a base that you operate out of, with a laboratory for upgrades, a barracks for managing your Marines, and an armory for getting new weapons and items. Like XCOM, you forward time by 1 day each turn, taking time between missions to collect resources or heal your Marines before your next deployment. Missions can be done in chunks each deployment, or you can do it all in once if you're really good. Some missions may require multiple deployments as you take damage, run out of ammo, or find it too difficult. The longer you are on a mission, the harder it gets as the xenomorphs catch on to what you're doing there and they send hordes against you. But if you go back to the ship and let a day pass, it resets and the xenomorphs forget about you. There are no time limit on how many days you can take to do a mission until about halfway through the game when the doom clock starts. You basically have 28 days at that point to beat the game, so you need to plan your missions carefully from that point on. Resting between missions and letting time pass also increases the infestation level of the planet, which means more aliens attacking you during the horde sections. Your Marines have abilities that can be deployed using command points, with the option of either slowing down time while you decide what you want to do, or completely freezing it. Outside of telling your squad to move somewhere or use a specific ability, the squad themselves are pretty much fully automated. You won't be telling each individual Marine what to shoot or how to act, unlike an XCOM game. Combat can take some getting used to, and the difficulty really ramps up as you go through the campaign. When you level up a Marine, they get better stats, access to better weapons, and can specialize into a certain career. But it was never anything super overpowered or interesting like an XCOM game, and there isn't a ton of difference between the different types of Marines. You have the medic, the gunner, the sergeant, recon, and a tech specialist, with each basically doing one extra thing besides combat. They are all pretty much self-explanatory, and I didn't find any wrong choices. Aside from combat, let's talk about save scumming. When I played XCOM and XCOM 2, I would quick save and quick load all the time when I was trying to keep everyone alive. It's part of the game, a lot of players do it, and I didn't feel like it was out of place as I used it. Saving in Dark Descent works a little differently. You can only save when you deploy on a mission, use an elevator to reach a new floor, or rest in a safe room. Safe rooms are marked on the map with little green house symbols, and they require using tools to weld the door shuts behind you. You can only rest in specific rooms and only if you have those tools available. Which goes back to the technicals of the game. Saving is very intermittent, and you will find yourself losing large amounts of progress as you die, which is inevitable even on normal difficulty. There is a bug that prevents saving in certain missions, and I had to reload the map multiple times as bugs and glitches prevented me from succeeding. I understand that saving this way is a deliberate choice in order to heighten the tension. You don't want to die because it means going all the way back to your last save, but it's frustrating as all hell when the game is buggy and broken.
Daniel! Daniel, is that you?
Administrator Hayes, where are you going?
We're getting to safety, Daniel. Please, come with us.
I'm afraid I can't permit that. Cerberus protocols are in effect.
Alright, let's go through the pros and cons of Aliens Dark Descent. For the pros, the game really nails the aesthetics and atmosphere of the Alien franchise. Everything in it feels authentic to the movies. The story is pretty good, and it could have been a movie in its own right. The gameplay is fun and interesting, especially in the first half of the game. But for the cons, the tutorial and prologue section isn't very good. You can get stuck in parts because you can't click on what it tells you to do, or you get stuck on mandatory stealth sections. The game is riddled with bugs and glitches that won't ever be patched, so don't expect a polished product. The facial animations and cutscenes leave a lot to be desired. The game has massive difficulty spikes, with the later half of the game just giving you endless hordes of enemies and time limits. And that's it for another review. If you're enjoying the content, leave a like, subscribe, or comment about the video. So is Aliens Dark Descent worth playing on console? Yes, but only if you have it on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus subscription. I wouldn't buy it unless it's steeply discounted. It's too bad because if they fixed the bugs and evened out the difficulty so that it ramps up smoothly, it would have been an easy recommendation for me. I'm the Casual Console Gamer, and I'll see you all in the next review.